Hey guys, what is up? Hope everybody's alright. Hope everybody's doing good. I know I just ran a short intro there. Just gonna kind of jump into it tonight. This guy's falling. Yeah. No, not quite. Good one though. Good one. We'll give everybody a second to get in here. I know that was just like a 30-second intro, so we'll just, but I think I am going to go ahead and get started. So anybody that's here, I appreciate you. Actually, it's let me look over here. I'm not sure how many we got. We're probably not gonna have too many in here right now. It's early, so I get it, right? So is everything 5 for 5 in there? Can you guys hear me before I move on? Gonna make sure. Hey Susan, hey Erica, Kiwi, Pamela, Skywalker, John, Nasky Man, Stacy. Alright, cool, guys. Alright. So, I'm just going to kind of jump into it, guys. Hey, Becca. Hey, Tommy. What's up, bud? I know, man. I know. But I got to get this done. We had a flare pop off. So, I'm going to bring it up to everybody here real quick. This one will be probably pretty short. I don't want to be on here because I need to get some sleep. I'm actually, I'm not really feeling all the best right now. But just for everybody that's here, I will be doing an interview no matter what tonight with Tommy, whether it's on his channel or mine. I'm getting close to figuring out my technical issue as far as helping us being able to live stream together at the same time from his channel. I'm, getting really close with that. Waiting on some replies from some people, and it should be good to go. If not, the interview will be here. Okay? So, one way or the other, it's going to happen tonight. Yeah. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get back into this, and I'll try to get out of here and get you guys out of here in a respectable time frame here. Thanks, Vi. Appreciate you. Appreciate you guys, I really do. But, okay, Schumann Resonance, heartbeat of the Earth, right? That's what we all call it. It's the vibrational frequency between the ionosphere and the surface of the Earth. It's a 7.83 is what our biological minds and bodies require to be considered normal. When we're outside of that, it affects our mood, it affects our health, all of that. There are thousands of studies now on this. Okay, it does affect us. That's why they put it in the space station. That's why they put it out in all the people that work underground. If they don't do that, they get what they call space sickness. They go crazy. And it's not like immediate, but it is, for most people it's not. But it does, can, and will mess people up if they don't have that vibrational frequency. At 7.83 is what they consider ambient conditions or normal for us. Obviously, that's this green line right here. Anything that you're seeing outside of that is not vibrating at that frequency. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a humongous deal. We've seen spikes that lasted for long. I call them spikes for lack of a better word. Just an increase in hurt level. We've seen them last for longer than a day. So, and again, these are regional too. So they're not global. These tools are, this one here is in Russia. So, but we can point to the sun and say, hey, listen guys, this is, was a global event because all the tools started showing it. So anyway, X-rays. Now this is interesting what happened. Okay, it's extremely interesting. I just laugh about it because so if you come over here, this is NOAA. This is why I tell everybody you got to look at all the sites. You cannot just look at one place for the data. It doesn't mean the data's not there. You just got to go find it. So what I'm saying here, guys, is this X-ray flux. This is what we look at for flares, right? Do you guys see any big flares here? No. But remember, we've been talking about these data dropouts. What is that? That's an eclipse of the satellite. The Earth passes between the satellite and the sun. So it's unable to get that data. And this is from GOES, the GOES system. GOES 16 and 17 in particular on most of these models now. So what happened was that eclipse that's been happening once a day happened at the exact same time that flare fired off. So it is not going to show up here. Okay, but I am going to be able to show it to you on other tools. It's there. We just don't look at GOES for that. We'll have to go look at the other stuff, right? So you're going to have somebody say, well, look, they did this and they did that. Well, no, they didn't. That's just something that happened. It's very interesting, but it happened. Hey, Siggy, what's up? Hey, Carolyn. Ricky, what's happening? Julie, what's up? Tina, HW, what's going on? So, anyway, that's what happened there, okay? The flare happened at 4 something UTC time, and these are 3-hour increments. So look where it happened at. I mean, it literally happened right when that flare, that doesn't happen like that too often. Matter of fact, I'm not sure if it's happened like that hardly ever. I'm sure it's happened before, but not like this evident. So if we play the time lapse here, this is GOES. I'm not sure if this is going to show us. Nope, it's too far advanced already. We could go over to the GOES site. I'm not going to do it right now. But about an hour before this whole picture went black like it does because that was the eclipse. So, but we do have a lot more sunspots going on right now. Something else that we're not going to be able to see is the absorption prediction chart because it's getting the data from that same place, right? So we've seen a little bit of it, and I'm going to show it to you because what happened was as that eclipse was just happening really quick, it did catch some of it on the end of it. So let me go to that time. Do you see that little flash right there? That right there. Okay? See that little purple flash? Look at the time. It's at 8. Okay? So that's exactly what we're seeing here. Right there. So if we back it up even more, you're seeing a little bit of that because when it first hits, there's nothing before like 4. Okay? And then remember, X-rays from those flares get here in like 8 minutes. So it's not seeing nothing, and bam. Okay, now what didn't look very big, but it's bigger than what this is going to show you. Okay? So just want to point that out because it just caught the butt end of it. So, and then after that, you had a couple little smaller flares popping. And plus, you had some residual extra energy hanging around that this absorption model picked up. So that is that flare, and I'll show it to you guys here on SDO. I'll hit submit. Okay, so what you're looking at here is the 304 angstrom. It's down here. This is where it happens. You'll be able to see it. It's really evident. Here it comes. There it went. Okay, that is that flare. So let me take you here, and I'll back it up. All right, now we're seeing that typical X pattern. It's not an X flare. It's just the way the imager sees it, okay? So it's making that X flare, and it was pretty bright. And the reason why it was pretty bright is because it was directly facing us, okay? So this is SDO. This is the satellite right out in front of Earth, right? So it's from our perspective, and that's what you see here. That's the flare. I'll show it to you in another angstrom here in a second. Notice the time. This is how I knew that happened with this. Oops. That matches up perfect. Okay? So the data is there, guys, so don't let somebody tell you it's not. It is. It's there. You're looking at it. Okay? But something else I seen interesting, too, you had a couple little eruptions over here. Watch how fast this eruption comes, and then the sun recaptures it. And it almost like it goes pretty fast back to the surface. Watch right over here. See that? I have my cursor in the way. I'm sorry. It's right here. Okay, so watch right here. You'll see a little ejection come out, and then most of it goes right back to the sun, and I mean with quickness. See that? And did you notice what happened? And I was going to bring that up too. when that goes back to the sun right there, it was enough to disrupt everything, and this thing flared. Watch. Wham. See that? See how it's tied together? Right there. Bam. So if you can kind of picture in your mind the distance and how these things go across the surface of the sun, how that energy just kind of disrupts things, you can definitely see it. Okay? So that's what's happening there. So that is your flare. Now let me, I'll take you guys back here and we'll look at a different angstrom here. Let's look at the 94. I don't use this one too much, but this one really shows this flare really good. Watch. Obviously it's going to be right here. See how bright that got? And again, you're looking at different gases, guys. That's what you're looking at here. See this right here? That was my thumbnail. I'm sure you guys, if you guys see my thumbnail, that's what it is. Hey, Daniel, what's up? Tina, Eric. So yeah, you can see that, right? I mean, obviously. And again, you can even see the X pattern here. Look how far it stretches out. And, you know, it's more of a star pattern because you get the vertical and the horizontal here too. It's just really cool stuff. And again, you remember, this is right in front of us. Something else I want to point out. Look at all these active areas. It just kind of popped up. And like 3 of these are sunspots. Now we have like 4 sunspots. With 2 days ago, we had none. So that's how fast that stuff can change, guys. So just wanted to bring that part to you there. So just understand, guys, that the data's there. Okay? That's the flare. Just because NOAA couldn't see it with the GOES system doesn't mean it wasn't happening. And doesn't mean anything else was going on, because it wasn't. Anyway, so this is the Discover data. And remember, guys, you know, they're getting a lot of this stuff is getting the data from the same locations. So, but yeah, you're welcome, Vi. So you're seeing the density here, guys. And the density, remember, the X-rays from the flare are here in 8 minutes. It's traveling at the speed of light. Sun's 93 million miles away from us, so that's how long it takes that light to get here. Yeah, good. That's a good one, Tommy, because it's definitely true. Actually, you just kind of struck my memory here real quick. I wanted to show you guys, we do have a coronal hole, too. And this coronal hole is not small. This is a significant coronal hole. Okay, the one at the top is the northern hole that's always there. Now, this one here was over here. It rotated through. Hey, Rampage, what's up? Oh, you're welcome, man. Anytime I can push somebody to get some help and get some support, you know I'm going to do it. You know I'm about it. And that's a good place to go get it over at the lifeboat, for sure. But as you can see, guys, this coronal hole here, remember, you got the parallax effect going on here, too, with the sphere. When you're looking at a sphere, things will appear smaller on the sides. When they're right in front of you, they're bigger. Okay? So that's how they look from our perspective. So this is actually even bigger than what it's kind of looking like. Just a little bit. But when it gets over here, it'll look pretty small from this perspective. But it was substantial. We were already getting solar wind from it yesterday. It's still happening right now. And I guess I could show you this because I'm not sure if I even pointed it out. But as you can see with the geomagnetic activity, you can see how we almost got into storm level. We didn't get there, but it was close. Now they are saying today that there's a possibility of it, okay? Just so everybody understands that too. And again, it's from a coronal hole stream. And from a small, very small CME, it was that filament release that I showed you guys the other day. It could be reaching us too, but the coronal hole is really what we're more looking at right now as far as getting the brunt of the energy. So anyway, so back to Discover. You got the phi angle up here. That's the polarity of the solar wind. Remember, it gets here through an interplanetary magnetic field line. Solar wind is charged gas, right? It's plasma. It's that fourth state of energy that everybody forgets about and don't talk about a whole lot. You know, you got solid, liquid, gas. We all know those, right? Well, you got plasma too. That's charged gas. That's gas with a charge. That's what plasma is. So it gets here on that line, that road. So it has a polarity. So sometimes when it flips, the polarity of it, it'll jerk on us a little bit, and we'll get extra hits. And it'll make it just a little bit stronger, whatever's going on. Okay, so this is the geoelectric field model. Now this is their attempt to show us what could happen, or it's Spaceweather's effect on our electrical grid system, or artificial electrical components, transformers, wires, anything that's not natural, right? So that's what you're seeing here. So I got to point that out because it's not the same as a lot of the stuff that we look at. So they're trying to show you how this is going to affect our electrical grid, basically. And it does show up when that, we start taking a little bit of a hit, you're going to see. Now remember, this one over here isn't complete yet. They're still working on that model. So as we go forward here, you see that little blip. Okay, it's not going to be all that impressive. Okay, now that is an uptick. Okay, so depending on how the state of our magnetic field at that time will depend on how much that went through, and we'll have to see. If you look at the timestamp there, that was at 7, so it wasn't too long ago. What you're looking at here. So this was not the flare, just so everybody understands that too. That's 4 hours after the flare, matter of fact. So as we go forward with that, and again, we've seen this a lot worse, but this is significant. I mean, we should show people this, because this could, this will be one of the good markers we look at. So, hey Bex, hey Michael, Provoke, what's up? Yeah, Provoke makes a good point there. Planetary alignment most definitely has an effect on everything, actually. So when you get Venus and Mercury lining up, and sometimes it lines up with us. Jupiter has a huge effect when it lines up in certain positions. We'll see sunspots and everything pop up because of those alignments. Everything's connected to the sun, guys. Everything. Okay, and most likely everything there is connected to everything else. So it's all one big connection. Everything affects everything. It's just sometimes it doesn't affect it enough to really worry about. Now, when we see those kinds of things like Provoke was talking about there, it definitely is the truth. You will see that. I mean, that's known science. You can go look at that up. You can go look at that on any kind of data collection and stuff. You'll see historic data and studies showing that. So here's our Aurora. This is one of the biggest markers I show you guys, because when we do get hit with geomagnetic activity, you're going to see this immediately spiked. Okay, because it's showing you around the poles, and if we get hit real big, like over here on the northern one, you'll see it creep down in the mid latitudes. When they had the Carrington event, I've said this before, they were seeing Aurora on the equator. Okay. So it doesn't get much harder of a hit than that, unless you want to talk about grid down type of stuff. Okay, Carrington event. If that event had happened today, who knows what would have happened? I don't know. I can't claim 100% anything, but my guess would be we would see a lot more problems than what they did. I mean, heck, they had telegraph operators catching fire. Okay, so it was shocking people. It's crazy. So anyway, that's what happened back then. And then I think it was 1972. They had water mines were getting set off by a big solar flare. 1989, the Canadian grid in Quebec went down because of the solar flare. So these things happen, and this is why we talk about it. I said this before. There's no fear here. We get rid of it by being aware that this stuff can get, that this stuff does happen. It's normal. But we got to be aware that when the big stuff does happen, we have to be able to react the right way. And if we didn't know it was coming, or if we didn't know that was even possible, and then something like that happened, you get scared. So because you have the knowledge that that stuff can happen, it gets rid of that. It gets rid of the shock scare. That's what I call it. The scared, the most scared I ever was a shock scare. Nobody forgets that, right? So that's what I'm saying. So how we react when those serious situations do pop up, it helps to be aware that, hey, yeah, we might have thought this was already coming. So when it does, you're not surprised, at least not to an excessive level. So that's why, because some of the stuff that we talk about here kind of gets put under the blanket of fear porn and fear mongering and all those kinds of things. That's just me sharing information that even mainstream science will tell you happens in a cyclical fashion. It just happens. It's in a cycle. So anyway, here is Soho. This is Lasco C2. This is back on the 22nd. Notice nothing much is going on. Again, this is another satellite, a little bit closer to the sun than what SDO is, but it's still from our perspective. It's not from the side. I think this is this is Soho. Making sure before I make a mistake there. So we'll go to the next day. This is the 23rd, which is today. Nothing there yet. So we'll back it up a day, and you're going to see some eruptions, right? So that's that one I was showing you guys earlier. And if we go back another day, you're going to see some more. So let me go forward a day again. I'll show you the one that happened on the 21st. This is from our perspective. So let's go look at it from the side. Let's go look at it on stereo A. That's our side view, right? Back here. So this is how we knew it wasn't coming at us. This is from the side. Earth's over here. Okay, so if you look at that view, and then you go back here to Soho from our view, you can clearly see that, from this view, you can't really tell if it's coming at us or not. But because it's going to the left here, and to the left here, we know that it's not coming at us. Okay? So that's how we tell. Let's go to Spaceweather.com. Go give them some love, please. They do a great job. Before I'm gonna skip to the earthquakes real quick first. Okay? There are a lot of larger earthquakes happening right now. Okay? So we got the one up here in China. That's probably Russia there. Yeah. A 5.5. We had a 6.5 down here in Central America that was pretty substantial, guys. It was you can go look at the pics if you want. There was no tsunami with any of these, nothing substantial. But if you guys go look at this one, obviously this thing did a little bit of damage. Okay, if you guys can look it up on the internet, you'll see pics. This one here just happened. That's a 4.2 in Texas. That is rather large for that area. It's not huge, but it's a little bigger than what we normally see. So let me, and again, guys, I am not the earthquake guy. I'm just reporting what this is showing you, okay? That's all I'm doing here. I'm not going to try to go anywhere else with that. Now, remember, we're talking about Obama over here with that volcano, right? And I showed you guys that my last upload. And we were talking about how if that thing was to slide off, the tsunami wave that would happen basically would smack our coast pretty good. All these things over here would get hit, right? And again, nobody really knows exactly what would happen. It's one of those things that they have a really good educated guess on, but it's one of those things they can't just hang their hat on it either. So that's on stuff like that, I try not to really put too much interjection there because it's just not, number one, it's not productive. And the only thing that can happen when you do that is for you to be wrong. So I choose not to do that. I don't want to put out, something like that and for people to be confused, if you know what I'm saying there. Okay, so back here to spaceweather.com. They're talking about the auroras. They love the equinoxes. Yes, they do. Okay? And a lot of it has to do with our tilt. It's seasons. Okay? Because of our 23.4 degree tilt that causes our seasons, when we're in the first day of spring and first day of fall, and even throughout that whole season, that angle is at a better angle for us to catch more geomagnetic activity, and it increases the aurora, and that's basically what happens. And that's a very basic, I'm not going to go too in detail with that tonight, but that's basic. So with that being said, if you guys remember, we were talking about that 23-degree tilt, and I told you guys, I don't know, a couple of months ago when I first was talking about Earth tilt, that the best day to show somebody, has our Earth tilted more than what is normal. And today would be the best day for that. And let me show you why. So, well, before we go to that, let me, you got 5 sunspots now. I thought there was only 4. That's quite a bit, guys. I mean, that's active. And here are some of those Aurora. I do want to give credit here. Who did this one? I'm trying to find the name real quick. John David McKinnon of Alberta. This was in Alberta, Canada. That stuff is just awesome. I just can't even. Sometimes you just gotta look up at the sky and just look at it in awe. Whether or not you believe in God or not, I choose to. But if you don't, whatever. I'm just saying. For me, you just look up at it and you're like, oh my gosh, how can that just be random? But I'm just saying, that's just my point of view. I'm not trying to say anything else there, guys. All I'm trying to say is that's my view, and that's how I view things. But you're like, wow. And even if you don't think that, you would still look up and be like, wow. I've never experienced these, and I will if I can help it. I'll tell you that. So, near Earth objects, guys, there's not much going on here. This is where they report the, again, near Earth objects. They do it by lunar distance. That's the distance they're talking about with LD. They always put the date when it was discovered before they put the number or name. So if you notice, most of these were discovered in this year. You'll find that's the case because, number one, technology's gotten better, and they can see things, and they know what they're looking at more so than what they used to. But also, some of these things get ate up by like the sun or whatever, because that's what they're doing. They're basically, unless it's a rogue or whatever, it can just be, doing whatever it's doing. And most of it's just, but most of it, a lot of it it's orbiting the sun, so it gets ate up. Or even Jupiter. Jupiter will eat that stuff up too. Now, when we're talking about these near-Earth objects, most of them are coming from like comet debris and around like I don't know, like our meteor showers, like the Perseid meteor shower, where we go through the tail of the comet that was here years and years ago. And we go through it every year. We know it's going to happen, and there's more than just that one. We know it's happening most of the time. Okay, so the equinox. Okay, so what I was talking about with that Earth tilt, that's why we even have an equinox. It's because we're tilted. That's what gives us our seasons. So let me explain real quick. We'll go here with this, and this is a really good short little model just to show, right? So here's the Earth, right? This is representing our tilt. Now picture yourself on this. Also remember that at any given time, half of the Earth is lit up by the sun. It's not like a spotlight. We're far enough away from the sun that most of those rays have now become parallel to one another, and it's spread out too far that nothing's getting spotlighted except for just a small part. But it's so spread out that half of the planet is dark and half of the planet is light at any given time, at any time during our orbit. All right. So just so you know, that's important. This one is showing you shadow line. So if you just think about where you're at right now, and this is important for what I'm getting ready to explain. This is representing a 23-degree tilt. So I'm going to push play here. Pause. This is spring. notice that our axis has not moved. Okay, we're not going around the sun and that axis is pointing at the sun as we go around, like it's rotating at the same time as, or it's revolving at the same time as it's rotating, right? That axis is always pointed the same direction. We're spinning on this axis. Okay, I could take the Earth off of here and that would really show it a lot better, but this shows the shadow line. So notice that when it is equinox time, and then we get here in the summer, what happens? Because of our tilt, now the northern hemisphere, if you cut the Earth in half, is pointed towards the sun. Okay, and I know this is, I don't want to sound like I'm bringing it down too far to make people sound like they don't know what they're, they're not smart or whatever. But there's really no other way for me to explain this. I'm not trying to do that. If you guys are thinking I'm doing it, I'm not. I just want everybody to understand. This is basically telling you how seasons are made. I mean, honestly. So, what I'm saying here, and as I go here, if you look at autumn, now when you're on the other side, now that half of the Earth is lit up. Now, yes, we're rotating, but as we get over here, well, it stopped. Hold on. The biggest thing I want to show, so you guys get a really good understanding, when we are at spring and autumn, that's the closest you will find to everybody having basically really close to 12 hours equally of sunlight, right? When we're over here, you see a big difference in the amount of sunlight versus one position to the other. What do I mean by that? That's why we got an Arctic circle and an Antarctic circle. If you're inside that circle in summer and winter, depending on what time or what position you're at, you will experience either 24 hours of darkness or 24 hours of daylight. Okay? So, if we had tilted down all the way horizontal, this is what it would look like. Okay, I put the red dot on there just to show you position. So if I was to grab this red dot and put it here, what does that do? That gives us what we're currently seeing. So if we tilt it down to 90 degrees to our orbital line, the ecliptic around the sun, right? The equator of the sun, stretch it out. So if we're on that orbital line, when we're in winter, right? We're rotating on this axis, correct? Half of the sun, like I just explained, or half of the Earth is always lit up and half of it's dark. When we're right here, half of the Earth would see 24 hours of darkness for an extended period of time. We're talking months. And then the vice versa would happen in the summer. Because right here, the southern hemisphere is pointed at the sun, so they're getting 24 hours of daylight for months on end. So when you're at the equinoxes where we're at now, if we were at 90 degrees, everybody on the planet would experience exactly 12 hours of daylight because we're spinning this way. Right? So what I'm saying is, if we had tilted down to 90 degrees, and I hate to say it like this, we'd all be dead. That's just the truth of it. That is the truth of it. There is absolutely nothing else to say there. And I'm not pointing to anything else. I'm just showing you axial tilt. I don't really have to go anywhere else with that. Because if I shaded this out, and I made this little model here, I can't animate it, or I would have. But you can see, like on this one, you can see how the shadow changes. So what I'll do is I'll back this up just to give you another idea. See how the shadow's changing? So again, let me say this again right here. I'll back this up to this position. right there. Okay? So in the winter, just like I showed you here, if picture it in your mind, what it would look like if we were at 90 degrees, right here. Everything, so if you're here, right? If you're, say right now, in wintertime, right here, we'll say Seattle, Washington. See where my cursor is? If we tilt down to 90 degrees, you grab this and tilt it 90 degrees, what happens to Seattle, Washington? Because right now, Seattle, Washington, as we rotate on our axis, what happens? But when we're rotating this way because of our tilt, now Seattle, Washington's facing the sun for a certain amount of hours each day. Well, you grab Seattle, Washington right here, you tilt it down to 90 degrees, and we're still spinning that way. Now Seattle, Washington is doing what? 24 hours of daylight for months on end. So what I'm trying to say is, if we had done that, I would not have to come out here and tell you that we did. You would have to do nothing but look out your window. Because the amount of daylight that you're experiencing would change globally. Not just 4, 5, 6 minutes. We're talking hours and months. So that's what I'm trying to say. And if my science is wrong there, I really want somebody to tell me. Because I don't think that it is. I really don't. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not pointing to anything else right now. We'll talk about other things in the future. But the only reason why I'm bringing it up today is because we're in that equinox, and I told you guys that I would talk about this again when that happened. Because it's easy to see, like when we grab this again, right here in the spring, well, it's jumping around on me, sorry. See how half the planet is shadowed? So it means if we were, we're going to see the amount of daylight start to dwindle now. That's what happens. Spring and autumn. In the wintertime, the angle is approximately 66.5. No. The angle stays the same, Bex. That's what I was trying to say. This angle is always the same. If I took the Earth off of here and just left this stick representing our axis, this stick would stay in that same position all the way around the sun. That's what would happen. So that's why I'm trying to explain to people that if we had tilted to 90 degrees, you take this axis and you're setting it on its side. And I don't see how that could happen without the whole world. And I can show you, and let me tell you this too, because I've been asked the question, well, how can you prove that without showing you this kind of stuff? Well, there are businesses that run their whole business, hotels and all those things. Their hook is getting people there to experience what they call the midnight sun. What is the midnight sun? Well, they're in the Arctic Circle, so they get 24 hours of daylight at certain times of the year. You got hotels and tourist destinations in the northern and southern hemisphere that do this. And they've been in business for 50, 80, some of them even 100 years. So, yeah. Regard to I'm trying to help you out there, Bex, so I don't want you to be confused at all. In the winter, depends on where you're at, Bex. That's what I'm saying. It's about your planet. It's about your position on the planet. In the winter, the northern hemisphere, here, I'll just take it to the winter real quick. Well, I went too far, didn't I? Well, we'll just go to summer. How about that? Because it's the same thing, it's just opposite. So if we're there, in the summertime, the northern hemisphere is pointed towards the sun. That's why we have summer. If I take this and take it over here to the winter, we're still pointed that direction. So now the southern hemisphere is more pointed towards the sun, and the northern is not. It's pointed away. The other thing that I would like to say here too, that I can point out, that like say we're here, and again, if I go here, if we're tilted to 90 degrees, if we were at here, the 23-degree angle, when we're rotating, we see a certain amount of stars, right? Well, if you grab that and you pull it down to here, this position is no longer moving. It's just sitting there rotating on our axis for those few days that it's stationary, basically. Okay? That if you were directly on the North Pole at that day right there, you couldn't see anything over here. And that doesn't happen. That's what I'm trying to say. So if we're at 23 degrees, when it comes nighttime, we get to see what's back here. If you were here and we were at 90 degrees, you wouldn't. You wouldn't see any of this. None of it. So that's kind of what I'm saying with the axial tilt. I hope that's enough for people to understand, at least the way that I did my research here. That, and again, I know that this is probably basic for some people because it's basically explaining seasons. Okay, I get it. But I do understand that there are, questions out there, and they deserve people to look at. I'm not saying that at all. And if you don't agree, I'm not mad at all, period. I don't get mad. You guys know that. I just want you guys to understand that this is where I'm coming from, and this is where my research took me. This is what I've dug up to, really didn't have to dig up. This was all right there, pretty much. And when you really sit down and you think about what would happen if we did tilt down to 90 degrees, I ain't saying that can't happen in the future, because it most certainly could. But what I'm saying is when that day comes, there's going to be no question. Absolutely no question. We're not going to have to look for anything because it's going to hit us in the face. That's what I'm trying to say. So, but yeah. How do you know? Well, here's a good website too, guys, by the way, time and date. If you guys go over here, they got a lot of cool stuff. They're expanding this stuff, by the way. They're doing a lot of cool stuff over here, but you can go and see how many daylight hours per date, and you can change your location. See here? You can drag this around. If you take this to I want to show you guys this because right now that's the North Pole, right? See where it's located? It's close to it. Close to the North Pole. What's it say right here? Okay, daylight hours. In that position, you're going to experience 12 hours and 13 minutes of daylight. Okay? But if you go to, it tells you what you would experience on this day, at this position, what you would experience at the winter solstice. You would have 12 hours and 13 minutes longer of darkness. And then the opposite's the same in the summer solstice. See? Notice that this says 12 hours and 13 minutes. What does this say? 12 hours and 13 minutes. This is winter. We're in autumn. First day. That's why I'm showing it to you on the first day of autumn. They're telling you they're going to have 24 hours of daylight right there. This right here is telling you that. And that is exactly what we've experienced for, well, I mean, I can't speak to before my lifetime other than hearing what everybody else and other data and stuff. I don't know what else to say there other than saying that everybody else has always experienced roughly the same amount of daylight. And that is an immediate bam. That would change immediately if our tilt changed at all. And it does change a little bit. Okay? Our tilt does. I'm not saying that it doesn't. But we're not talking about 1 to 2 degrees here. You know, we're talking 66 more degrees on our side. I mean, there wouldn't be the chance of catastrophic stuff. That wouldn't be a chance. That's a guarantee. Immediate, almost. Just saying. What causes tilt change? It's actually in a cyclical, I believe it's in like a 26,000 year cycle. It's just how we got spun. Our orbit and all that kind of thing. It is moving. It's kind of like a top. You know, we talk about Earth wobble. People were getting confused on that Earth wobble thing, and I had to explain that a while back too. Earth wobble is not Earth tilt. Earth wobble is the point of our northern, I don't want to get into this today, but this point of our axis, that wobbles a little bit. And it's in like a 18,000 year cycle or something like that. So that's one of the reasons why, you know, our North Star changes once in a while. You go back thousands of years, we were pointing at a different star and they had a different northern star. It wasn't Polaris. Same with the Southern Cross, the Southern Star. Yeah, precession. Exactly, Ricky. What's up, Tom? Hey, Muse, what's up? So yeah, guys, I just wanted to go over that because I told you I would. I really didn't want to do that in this video, but, you know, I'm actually kind of, my eyes and my head's killing me. I've been on my computer now probably for, 11 hours, 12 hours, something like that. But, yeah. And the Earth turn itself, yeah, it does. It moves. Things move. Hey, you're welcome, Becca. Exactly, Ricky. 26,000 years. You got Earth wobble. You got obliquity that you could talk about. And those terms I explained in a previous video. I'm not going to go through that tonight. This video is getting a little long. What are we at? 47 minutes? But yeah, so I just wanted to go over that, guys. And again, I'm not out here trying to change anybody's mind. Okay? It's not what I do. I just, when somebody said, hey, they were asking me, did we tilt 90 degrees? I said, well, let me go look and see what I can bring to you to show to you that I don't think that that's what happened. Oh, Mark, that's called time and date. Right here. Here, I'll put the link in the. Oops. And again, I'm sorry if you guys didn't understand part of that or whatever, and I'm sorry for those that did, if that kind of bored you. I don't mean for that to happen, but again, I told you guys I was going to do that when today came, and that's why I'm doing it. That's the only reason. So I probably won't talk about this much anymore because there's really nothing else for me to try to explain. Thanks, Lai. Appreciate you. North Pole yes, North Pole is up there. That's where Greenland's at. On my next video, I guess I could bring up a globe with latitude lines and show you guys where the Arctic Circle is, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, explain to you guys what the meridian line is. That's basically the equator, except it's vertical. It's for longitude. There's a lot. Hey, Misty. So, yeah. No. HW, we are not. Okay? Not today. I don't see anything that's telling me that we're in any kind of danger. Okay? I mean, obviously, I don't know the future. But if you're asking me if the tools and stuff that are showing me that we're in any kind of danger, I would say no. But I would also say that would be local and that would be a regional thing. I just showed you guys earthquakes are popping everywhere. We got volcanoes going off. I mean, stuff is happening. I mean, and again, is this an uptick? It seems to be a little bit of an uptick today. Does solar weather have something to do with it? I tend to think so. And I've explained that to people before. I don't have any like hard science to say, hey, and point to it, any kind of studies or anything like that. And I think, even mainstream science will tell you that they think that it does. It's just there's so many other things that do cause earthquakes and, are added into that equation that it's hard. They don't even understand all that yet. So they really probably need to understand that first before they try to go this direction with it. Now, I'm not saying that, there can't be some science saying, hey, we just got a solar flare and look, there's a earthquake that happened right there. Okay, we have to take notice of that, right? That's what we do. That's why you do data collection. You compare, you look, But the thing of it is, you have to walk into it with a completely blind eye in the fact that you didn't hear or see anything else before you walked right into that discussion. That's how you approach those kinds of subjects. So then the research is going to take you where the research takes you. You're not being influenced by me. You're not being influenced by anybody else. That's why I show you guys observation, show you where to go look at it and where to go find it. And I try to give you my take on it, and that's it. And, again, I can't do any more than that. I wish I could. I could point to certain things and start screaming empirical fact on this and empirical fact on that. No doubt this is what it is, this, that. I could do that, but I choose not to because I find that it's not effective, number one. When I'm listening to somebody and they're telling me that they're the ones that only have the answers, guess what? I'm no longer listening. I might still be standing there looking at you, but I ain't listening. I might be shaking my head because I want to be polite. But when somebody is saying that they're the only ones that have the true answers of anything like that, and nobody else has the right answer, you might really want to consider what's going on. That's all I'm saying. And, like I said, guys, it's not productive to go out and, because I see it a lot, people blasting other people and other channels, this, that, and the third, and that's something we don't do here. Okay? And I've held true to that since the start of my channel. I have never once mentioned anybody else's channel name. Now, I will talk about the discussion that's being had, or when I see things, I'll talk about that subject line, but it's not productive to do that. People shut down and they don't listen. The listening stops right there. And, I'm not trying to do that to anybody. I don't want to tell anybody what to think. And it's like I tell you guys all the time. You guys are extremely smart people. And for me to sit here and say that I have any extra knowledge or anything like that on anything like that, number one, is prideful, arrogant, all that stuff. And I'm not going to be that person. So, and I hope that you guys can go, and I hope you guys do go look at these tools. I really do. That's my whole goal. I want you guys to look at the tools for yourself. And if you got questions on what you're actually looking at as far as what the tool's showing you, that's my position, right? I can say, hey, that tool's showing that data point. What caused that data to do that, I'm not going to even chime in on that, okay? That's kind of where I'm at. So, and if somebody asks my opinion, I typically give it, and I always preface it with, hey, my opinion. So, but don't underestimate yourselves. Please, don't. You guys are smart. It doesn't matter what other people think that you are. Don't be afraid. Go click on all this stuff. The more you look at it, the more you understand it. Your fault for what? What'd you do, Tommy? What'd you do, man? I don't know what you did, man. I missed it. Sorry. Tell me what you did so I can laugh at you. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we are going to be doing that interview tonight, guys. Depending on what's going on, if something else happens, I will definitely come out and tell you guys, hey, space weather this, space weather that, that kind of thing. And depending on where we do the interview tonight, if we do it here on my channel, I might give you like a 15-minute space weather update before we jump into the interview. Maybe not sure. It just depends, because there's a lot of things that have to happen between now and then. But I will come out here and at least put a community post. So ring that bell so you get my post. And, like I said, click on get all notifications. If you do that, then you'll get the notification. So, I don't want to say that either, because sometimes that doesn't happen either. But I may even pop out, do like a 2-minute video, just kind of like an announcement video. Because when you do that, that automatically pushes it out way more than a community post. So, I may do that too. It just depends. Honestly, guys, it depends on whether or not I can get the technical stuff worked out between me and Tommy here, how we're going to hook up with this. So, there's quite a few options. I got my eye on some things here I'm trying to figure out. So, but we are going to, yeah, the Vegemite punishment. Yeah, yeast extract. Anybody thinks that sounds good? Wow. I had some friends 25 years ago I worked with that brought it every day for lunch. His name was Tony. He lived in Australia. He was born there. Hey, Jack, what's up? Hey, Carolyn, good to see you. Yeah, I think, Fly, you like Vegemite, don't you? I think that's what you were saying. Tommy, better watch it, man. Yeah, MJ, if you grew up over there, and if you grew up over there, you're going to like that kind of stuff. Hey, Debbie, what's up? Good to see you. But yeah, guys, so I just wanted to go over all that with you guys, and just to kind of announce all that. The interview is going to be today, so I will definitely come out and give you guys the 20 on that, and we'll get it going. So, you've always wanted to try it, Becca? I would encourage everybody to try it at least once. And that's just so you get the life experience. Now, if you go try that, don't come back trying to hit me in the head or nothing. Not too bad, Jack. Hanging in there. How about yourself? Doing all right? Hey, Sharon, what's up? Michael, what's up? Yeah, yucky. For sure. Kiwi! So yeah, guys, I am going to go ahead and end it. Man, I tell you what, I talk space weather the whole time. So hopefully people don't smack me in the comment section over it. They probably will. But, yeah, I'm probably going an hour, close to it now. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end it, guys. So, God bless. Yahusha saves. And, as always, you can drink this Kool-Aid.